Greetings and blessings. Blessed souls, is Danzo Suguman recording live from Kesser, Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York, in the United States of America, on the second day of the Hebrew month of Adar, Masheniknas Adar Marbim Besimcha. This is the month that we of Israel try to increase the joy in our service to the Almighty and in fellowship with the rest of the human race. I'd like to start with a humble blessing that we should understand as inhabitants of this world, Kol Bo'ei Olam, all the inhabitants of the world, that we can come together in what is known as an Achdut Bechetzoniyut, a superficial type of unity, which is in fact a very important matter, that we come together to realize that we are blessed by the Almighty to live upon this planet in a peaceful and pleasant manner. But where we will probably come to disagreement is what are the means that can be implemented on each and every land, within each and every country, within each and every people that live in each and every country, within each and every culture, in a manner that they feel that their culture is in a state of expansion and not in a state of contraction and diminishment. Well, when that can happen, blessed souls, we can see that even though on the purely humanistic level, this is quite praiseworthy. Let me be very clear about it. It's very praiseworthy for human beings to get together, but without the higher inspiration of why we're getting together as an expression of unity of all peoples upon this blessed earth, that we should come with one sole purpose to serve the Almighty, the one true source of all creation, and not any form of intermediaries, no through any means of worshiping statues or values, but rather worshiping, standing together with one consent to serve the Almighty. Until that time occurs, we will see, even in positive human dialogue, the injection of some slight nuance of ego within each and one of ourselves, which can be construed and utilized in a positive way. And unfortunately, in the history of the human race, it's been done in a negative way. So we're trying to move in a positive way within ourselves, and I speak of myself before anyone else. And hopefully, if the vibe catches, we can spread the message more around the world. This is actually sort of like an addendum to the synopsis that I made of a class for Noahides that was delivered on the 14th of February in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York, from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. this past Sunday. And when I made the synopsis, I originally had made it on Facebook, and I got some tremendous responses. And within that spirit of those very well thought out responses by two individuals, I would like to respond to some of the comments made, and then hopefully later in the week, it's already almost the middle of the week, later in the week, we can try to go on with other videos that we've made. And by the way, since this is the YouTube universe, I'd just like to mention anyone who's seeing this video via YouTube that you can go over to Facebook, and I would be very happy to connect with you in friendship over Facebook. And my Facebook identification is DUN, and then a space, and then MATOOK, Dun Matok. So there was a comment made about the idea that one person mentioned that they wish they can read and understand Hebrew to fully understand all the holy books properly and in their proper meaning and context, which is a very important ideal. And by the way, the good news is, blessed souls, is that you can in fact access these type of teachings from the Torah, the Bible as it's called, or the Tanakh, in the original Hebrew, if you take the time to learn Hebrew. Hebrew, say 100 years ago, 200 years ago, certainly 500 years ago, a couple thousand years ago, was primarily in the hands of the Hebrew people, the Jewish people, the Israelite people. But with the Baruch Hashem, the blessed of the Creator, the advent of the manifestation, revelation, giloyim of the internet. You can find many software programs, and you can also go into Judaic stores to learn Hebrew, and you can access these teachings. And whether you're an Israelite or a Noahide, and I have, in fact, one book, two books in my house now, in the Hebrew, explaining the 7 Noahide commandments, and it's extremely rich, extremely textured. And the only question you have to ask of yourself, how much do you really want to learn the Hebrew if you are in that category of blessed human souls? By the way, you're a blessed human soul whether you learn Hebrew or not. And therefore I humbly suggest to you, blessed souls, that if you want to learn the Hebrew, go and learn it. And if you need some help, find a Jewish friend who has some sort of ability in the Hebrew. There's no problem with you learning in the Hebrew. With that being said, another comment that was made was the idea that one person expressed the idea that Paro and Egypt were meat eaters, or how would the nation of Israel have learned 400 years living in Egypt, being enslaved? How would they have learned the idol worshipping ways of the golden calf and eating of it if they were not shown by the living nations around them? Well, blessed souls, that's why we have a Torah Shabbat Peh, because those statements, I humbly inform the promoter of that idea, is a mistake. First of all, we have from our tradition of Torah Shabbat Peh, and this is probably one of the biggest impediments and tests that the children of Noah and even Jewish people have to go through, those who are not familiar with the Torah Shabbat Peh, is how do we connect this idea that we believe in things that are written down scripturally from over 3,321 and almost 22 years ago, and we believe what those words are saying, but we have trouble with the traditions that were handed from Moshe Rabbeinu himself down through the sages throughout the ages of Israel to this very day. And one of the things that you will become more aware of, blessed souls, as you go deeper into the rich tradition of Torah Shabbat Peh, if you are a Jewish person, to all of the Torah mitzvahs, and if you are the children of Noah, the blessed children of Noah, 7 commandments, is that the later day sages are not coming to uproot any of the traditions of the previous generations, but rather they're elaborating on a point that wasn't revealed or was known in those previous generations, but because of the diminishment of intellect and soul awareness in these last generations before the universal redemption, that there is a need to elucidate by those who are privy and blessed and anointed to inform the masses what the deeper meanings are. So we should know, blessed souls, first of all, we have a tradition from Rashi and other sources in Torah Shabbat Peh that the Egyptians were a vegetarian society, and one of the reasons why the Israelites, the Hebrews, had lived in Goshen upon their entrance into into Egypt, when they met with Joseph, who was the viceroy of Egypt, was that the fact that the Egyptians abhorred shepherds because they worshipped the lamb or goat as a deity. But yet we ate the lamb and we ate the sheep up until this day. The other thing is the idea that we were influenced by the nations at the time of the golden calf. That is true. That the shortcoming, the falling through the sin of the golden calf was promoted initially by the Erev Rav, which is the mixed multitude of, before they went out, and then went out, they were righteous converts. However, they were lacking in their faith when Moses did not come down in the prescribed 40 days, as they interpreted, and now Moshe Rabbeinu and Moses had intended. Also, it was mentioned that they ate the golden calf. No, I'm sorry, I don't see any proof in the scripture itself or in Torah Shabbat Peh that the golden calf was eaten. It was served as an intermediary, and the Erev Rav had declared to Israel, these are your gods, Israel. Heaven forbid. And then Moses came down a little while later and broke the tablets. So in the meantime, blessed souls, I think that we've said enough for now. This is Don Zizigubin signing off pretty quickly. We're running out of time here on YouTube. Hopefully this whole video will upload. Sababa rejoice, Ahav Echad, one love, Gorel Echad, one destiny, Bor Echad, in the one creator, B'darch Shalom, in a peaceful, pleasant way, pleasant and peaceful way. And by the way, blessed souls, again, if anyone says you're not blessed, remind them, Genesis 9:1, you and your ancestors were ultimately in the Ish Tzaddik, Noach, Ish Tzaddik, the righteous Noach, were all blessed by the Almighty coming out of the flood.